Hello everyone, back in the garage looking to do a little video here now on the power upgrade that I'm doing, the leisure power upgrade I'm doing for the truck. Been using a Jackery 1000 last year whilst overlanding and camping, but I've now decided to go for a more permanent onboard system using a permanent battery fitted in the truck, along with a DC to DC charger with MPPT solar as well. So this is what I was using last year, the Jackery 1000, which worked perfectly fine. The biggest issue I had really with the Jackery was the fact that the only outlet for 12 volt is this, the cigarette lighter socket, which it's okay, but the problem we have when we were traveling around was that you could, if you were plugging in the fridge, you couldn't plug anything else in. So what I decided to do was run this basically, which was the fuse box that I put in the back of the truck. I then wired my lights and my fridge and everything into the fuse box, and then a feed from the fuse box into a 12 volt cigarette lighter socket, which I plugged into the Jackery, which worked perfectly fine. There was no issues whatsoever, absolutely great. Only problem really then was fitting the Jackery in the back of the truck when we were packing the truck for a trip, which obviously meant you had to leave a space this sort of size within location of the cable for the fuse box, etc. Which it was okay. It wasn't, you know, fantastic, but it was okay. It did what it needed to do. Run the fridge. I mean, we went on a trip and it was 33 degrees at one point, and it ran the fridge absolutely fine. The other issue that I had when doing a trip around North Wales and down through Mid and West Wales was that it was a touring trip. There is no power currently in the back of my pickup truck, so I couldn't charge the Jackery and run the fridge, etc. at the same time, which didn't really prove an issue on the first couple of trips we did, because obviously we were stationary for a couple of days. So it was a case of just put the solar panels out, charge it up, no problem, fantastic, kept full charge, kept power for the fridge, charging the phones, etc. without any issues. But on this particular touring trip, it was more difficult, especially when you consider that on that trip we didn't have glorious sunshine for a lot of the time. So the solar charging for that trip was very limited. Combine that with the fact that you've got no way of charging as you drive whilst running the fridge. Obviously, I mean, I could have unplugged it and put it in the truck, which I did at one point when it was quite low, but then you leave the fridge without power, which wasn't really an issue for a few hours, but it wasn't the most efficient way of doing things. So after a bit of a think about which way I was going to go forward, I've decided now to go for a full onboard leisure battery setup, which is this system here. You'll have to excuse the battery in the corner. That's not the battery I'm going to be using. It's just a stunt double for this video purpose, really. I've got a battery on order, a lithium Life PO4 battery, which currently is due within the next few weeks, I believe. So I'm going to have to wait for that to arrive before I can complete the installation. But just thought I'd do a run up here now on where I'm currently at with the onboard system. So I've gone for the Redarc BCDC 1240 D, which is the 40 amp charger. I was a bit unsure which one to go for really, because obviously there's different size chargers, and wasn't really sure what my needs were, but also thinking about the future and thinking about possibly upgrading in the future and adding more power. So I reached out to Redarc, who were very quick, to be honest, with a response within a matter of hours. giving a full technical breakdown, I give the charging capabilities of the battery I've got on order, and they came back and said that the 1225 would have charged the battery I've got on order, but going forward, if I was to add a larger battery or more batteries, say a double battery system, then that would be a bit more difficult for the 1225 to keep up with that charge. So I opted on their advice to go for the 1240. The system there then gives me more range should I decide to add more batteries or just one larger battery. This will cope with that much better and will charge much more efficiently than the 1225. So basically, this is the Redarc 1240D with MPPT solar input charging capacity there as well. It will monitor and charge from your solar panels. I've got the same fuse box that I've used last year, which I'm going to utilize for this installation here now. Got an isolator switch, so I can isolate the power going to the fridge and all the rest of it quickly if I need to. Couple of MIDI fuses, 60 amp rated MIDI fuses. So I'm going to run one from the engine bay, another one as it comes into the back of the truck. Probably a little bit of overkill, but it's not the end of the world to have an extra fuse in line, and I'd rather be safe than run any risks. Few connectors here that I'm going to need. I've also got an earth bus bar, which I'm going to use to provide the common earth that I need for everything, all the things in the back of the truck, along with the piggyback fuse system there to take the live from the fuse box inside the truck, the ignition live. Then I'm going to utilize this here for the connector here is what I'm going to utilize for connecting to the Jackery 2 solar panels, 200 watt solar Saga panels that I have, and obviously a switch then for the ignition live. That's basically a snip of roughly what is going to be in the back. It's going to be fitted in one of the compartments next to the drawer system that I built, which is a compact area. This is one of the reasons why I've gone for the Redarc, as well as obviously the brand name and the reliability, etc. But it's the smallest unit, one of the smallest units on the market. It's also fully sealed, fully waterproof, dustproof. It can actually work in the engine bay should I require it, but this is going to be in the back of the truck. So I want that even with the canopy on the back of the truck. If I have a leak of any sort, you never know, and I would prefer to have a fully waterproof system in the back if possible. And you know, the Redarc is fully waterproof, so it shouldn't have any issues should I have a leak in the back of the truck. If the canopy fails or just by accident tip water in there, you know, it's just, for me, it was a safer option just to go for that fully waterproof system for the back of the truck. So that's basically what I've got set here to do the system for the back of the truck. Now I've run the cable into the truck from the engine bay. I've run 2 4-gauge cables from the front of the truck along the chassis rail and up to the back into the tub, ready for this system. It was done prior. It was done a couple of months ago, to be honest, because I was using lano guard underneath the truck to rust proof the truck. Given the fact we were going into winter, I didn't really want then to be messing around underneath the truck after lano guard in it and trying to run some, you know, heavy duty cables from the front to the back. So I decided to bite the bullet, buy the cabling, run an earth and a positive cable and an ignition live cable, obviously. The 3 of those all in some corrugated plastic tubing for extra protection as well. And that's run all the way to the back of the truck, which I'll show you now. Okay, so as you can see from where the cabling runs into the compartment at the back of the truck, not a lot of space. I didn't really want to mount everything permanently in the truck, so to speak, as in screwing the Redarc to the side of the drawers, which I could do, would be easier, just screw it on the side. The thing is then with it being permanently mounted to the side of the drawers, to take the drawers out then would be more difficult, as in I'd have to take it all apart, everything would have to be unscrewed, etc, etc. So I went for the option of making what I've called a power board, if you like, where I've mounted everything on, or will be mounting everything on, a board that can be then screwed to the side of the drawers, which would be easy enough. Then if I need to take it out, you can take it out with a matter of a few screws, disconnect the power feed in and the battery feed in, take the battery out. This board then should lift straight out without any issues, having the Redarc, the bus bar, the fuse box, all that other wiring would be mounted to this board, which is what I've built now. As you can see, the cable comes into the engine bay there, goes down through the conduit, which runs down onto the top of the chassis, and then all along the chassis up to the back of the truck, across the back there. It then crosses over to the other side of the truck along the cross member and comes in through the corner. There's a void, a manufacturing void in the top corner behind the rear lights on each side. So I've brought the cables down through there and then into this compartment, which is where I'm going to house the leisure battery setup, which, as you can see, it's not a particularly huge compartment, hence the necessity to have small components as if possible when building this unit. Like I say, it's only a small leisure unit at the moment. I don't need massive power demands, so there we are with the power cables ready to go when I've completed building the power board. So this is what I've got. Looks a bit odd given the front here, which is slightly raised up, but that's to maximize the space at the top, given that the wheel arch comes back down in the back of that compartment and sort of comes down this area here. So I couldn't go flush down, but this is all screwed, glued in place, so it's more than strong enough for what I needed to do. I need to work out the layout on this now. I think I'm going to be putting the Redarc here on this panel here, then go in sort of the bus bar here and the MIDI fuse here, then my main fuse box here, obviously having to leave space for the battery that I've got on order. I built a cardboard replica, if you like, of the battery so that it gives me a size guide, so I can pop that in when I'm doing the layout, which is then obviously the next phase. Now I've got to do the wiring diagram now to work out what I need, but this is basically just the power board that I've made to mount everything to. And as you can see, I've put multiple screw holes in here. I did it while I was doing it. I can utilize any one of those, then I can put a few screws through and screw it solidly into the side of the drawer to hold it firmly in place. Easy to take out then, should I need to take the drawer system out without having to unscrew every single bit of the component system that I'm putting in now. Okay, so back in the garage now. I've done a diagram to give me a rough layout of how everything's going to fit in the box area. Obviously there's initial sort of plans, nothing special, just to give me guidance on how to fit things onto my power board really. So this is the rough diagram that I've done just to sort of work out the layout I want. So we've got the leisure battery there going to a isolator switch fuse before it goes to my fuse box, which obviously then will supply everything in the truck that I have that needs power. The Redarc unit obviously there with the feed wires from the truck coming in into a common earth and a fused power source in from the truck to go to through the Redarc. I've done it this way so that if, as I've tried to plan, if I need to take this box out, I mean the power supply is going to be fused at the battery source within the truck engine bay. This is an extra fuse which you don't really need, but it's not going to hurt, and it'll give me much easier option to then take the whole unit out should I need to, rather than having to sort of cut the wire to power feed wire for the Redarc. So I thought I'd throw an extra MIDI fuse in, which gives you the chance to remove it easily. So I've gone off this layout now with my power board. There's my wonderful construction of the battery I have on order, basically just to work out my sizes. Fantastic worksman, craftsman skills, I think, there. But it does what I needed to do, really, which gives me the and I could have just measured it out, but I did this to make sure everything fitted when I put it in the truck as well, make sure I could get the battery in and out, etc., because the space is, even though it looks quite big, isn't actually that big. So we're going to have the Redarc here and giving you a gap at the top, as the instructions state. You need to be able to see those LEDs on the top so you can check everything's working fine. I'm going to have obviously my power leads coming in from the truck here, which are going to go up to the earth point there. You're going to have an earth there, and then the power feed is going to be in through the MIDI fuse there. Then the power feed will be back out into the Redarc. The Redarc will obviously be earthed there. I then have to do an extension lead for the Redarc then to go with the charging cable will come across. I intend to run it across the top of the power board there, just above the fuse box area if possible, to feed the battery. The battery earth will come from the battery into the common earth there as well. Then we're going to have obviously the power out of the battery in through this isolator switch. Then that will feed the fuse box. Gives you the extra option, or the safer option there, to be able to kill the power to the fuse box if need be, just in case anything shorts out, etc. I'm then going to obviously have to have my cable to come in to an earth point there, and then wire that into the solar feed for the Redarc. The ignition lead that obviously tells the Redarc when the truck is running is going to be here as well. I think I'm probably going to mount that sort of in this area here, or maybe down here. It's only a small straight through connector, that's all, just to give that, again, gives me that easier option to take it out. I mean, I could just solder the two connections or crimp the two wires together, but then if I need to take this out, I'm gonna have to cut those wires, etc. So hence me putting in this waterproof connector just to make it easy to remove. So that's the basic first build up there of the power board as such. So the next step now is to drop this all in the truck and see if it all fits and it's all going to be accessible where I need it to be. So we'll get on with that and come back and show you where it's actually in place then, and see if it all works as I want it to be, in positions I need it to be. Okay, so we finally had a break in the weather, enabling me to do a trial test of the power board setup to make sure everything fits in place. It's been pretty much torrential rain for the last God knows how many days now, so not really been able to try it out. So we've actually had a break this afternoon for a short space of time, so I've dropped everything in place so that this board can be checked to make sure that it all fits in place and it gives me the room I need for the battery, etc. So this is the compartment, and as we can see, it looks as though it's all going to work fine. The board has gone in lovely where it should do. My stunt double battery again, cardboard box, but this is pretty much the actual size of the battery that's due to be delivered this month. But as we can see, it all fits in there lovely. giving me the room I need to complete the wiring. I can work out what length of wire I need now to cut these lengths off, because I don't need to leave all that there, make it a bit neater. But it all fits in there lovely. The thing is then, once this board, I've got a cover then that will drop. I have to excuse me, I'm trying to do this with one hand, which is not the easiest. Let me just check a sec. Let's get that cable out the way. It's not the easiest to do this with one hand, I gotta be honest with you. Doesn't want to go back to doing it one-handedly. Let me put the phone down a second. There we are. Right, finally dropped it in place. But as we can see, this is going to be the finished article then. The compartment will be completely enclosed out the way, so we can still utilise the space on the top without any issues. This is the view from the back. As we can see, all neat and tidy. So out of the way, and a nice easy to remove unit should I need to take the drawer system back out. So very happy with that test fit. So on to the next step now of actually starting to wire the board up and get everything connected the way it should be. Okay, so I've been trying to figure out a way of fixing the battery in place and obviously making it a lot safer if we're off-roading. I don't want the battery bouncing around in the back, so trying to design some sort of battery tray really, so I can strap the battery in place where I need it to be. Luckily, a mate of mine had some stainless steel sheet, like a stainless steel tray, which he didn't want, so he's passed it on to me, and this is what I've come up with. So as you can see, I've done a template first out of cardboard to obviously make sure that I can still get this unit in and out of my compartment in the truck, because as I said, it's key to me that this is removable easily. I don't want it to be a real pain to take it out should I need to take the drawers out to the back of the truck. So template first in cardboard to get my sort of structure in place and give it a trial run, which all worked okay. It seemed to work fine. Difficult to see if it was going to be absolutely perfect due to the fact it was cardboard, so I wasn't quite sure if I was pushing it anywhere or, you know, sort of putting a little bit of pressure where obviously the steel is not going to bend. Thought it seemed to go okay, didn't seem to be struggling in any shape or form to get it in and out, so I thought, well, let's go ahead and crack on with it and do it in stainless steel. So as you can see, I've cut this shape out here now, which is obviously the size of the battery. It's screwed into the bottom edge here. It curls up here. It's important to keep this shape here in the truck because the wheel arch sort of curves up around this area here, which is why the battery can't go any further forward than this section. So I needed to keep this curve as well, so that obviously this didn't foul on the wheel arch whilst continuing to maximize this space. Obviously it's screwed on the back there, gives it, made it nice and firm. It was slightly flexing on this corner though, so given that I want to strap the battery down from here up to the top and also from here up to here, that was going to be a bit of a concern, so I made a brace then out of a bar, also cut from the same stainless steel, which is bolted in place here and screwed along this back edge here. Comes down and it really does, you know, the whole thing is moving, there's no flex there at all. So when the battery is sitting in here, there's my stunt double battery. There we go, here's my stunt double battery, which sits in there nicely. So when that's sitting in there, I should be able to run a strap from here up and across and pull that down tight there, and the same here from here over to this area here and pull that down tight, and that battery then shouldn't go anywhere. Bearing in mind all of this board obviously is going to be screwed tightly into the side of the drawers as well, so the whole unit should be really solid. I mean, this edge actually fits underneath a strip sort of support brace on the side of the drawers as well, so there's going to be no lift there at all anyway, naturally, especially when it's screwed in place. So there's the battery tray all designed nicely, and as we can see, the wiring is coming along quite nicely now. I'm nearly there, nearly finished with the wiring. Very close to finishing the job now, so all going good so far. Okay, so this is the test fit of the new battery tray in place, and as we can see, it all fits lovely. The power board drops in nice and is still easily removable, so that is going to be a fantastic job for what I needed to do. Right, we're at the back now, and the power panel's all screwed into place nicely. Everything's connected up there, power supply in, the negative lead in, etc. I've got my power feed in and out there. Then we come across, we've got the negative connection there. We've got nice terminal covers to make sure nothing shorts out, and I've gone for a dual battery strap to strap it in from both sides. I've had to make sort of these little connectors here to sort of feed the strap through and hold it in place. Just use some aluminium bar and a couple of stainless steel nuts to space it out, really, to get the strap through. Then it really holds everything firmly in place, and everything is now nice and neatly all tucked up. Got my solar cable here, and we've just got to do the test now and make sure everything works. Okay, so as we can see now, just checking the LEDs on top of the Redarc, and we can see that it's charging lovely. It's set for the lithium IR Life Pure full profile, and we have full charge coming in through the system. I've also tested the solar, and it works with the solar as well. You can actually run the solar and the engine charging at the same time, should you need to make the charge quicker. But initial tests here now, everything is working perfectly as it should. Thankfully it's going to be a good install, I think, looking at this. Okay, so as we can see now, just checking the LEDs on top of the Redarc, and we can see that it's charging lovely. It's set for the lithium IR Life Pure full profile, and we have full charge coming in through the system. I've also tested the solar, and it works with the solar as well. You can actually run the solar and the engine charging at the same time, should you need to make the charge quicker. But initial tests here now, everything is working perfectly as it should. So that's the charging test complete now. Everything seems to be charging, as you can see there. LEDs lit up lovely, showing that the system is working and charging correctly. All neatly strapped in, and quite a nice little neat install, I've got to be honest. Very, very pleased with that. Cover panel back down, and all covers up lovely, fully protected from anything. We can still use this space on top from the vehicle, as you can see here on the back. There's quite a lot of space there, tend to stack out chairs there and other bits and bobs, so to lose that space would be quite a chunk of space to lose, to be honest. So going right the way at the full height of the canopy, but with this system like that now, we can still utilise all that space there, as well as everything being protected underneath. Okay, that about wraps up this video. Pretty much all sorted in. I'm very, very pleased with that. It's the first time I've done anything like this, so it's a bit nerve-wracking to connect everything up and see if it worked, but it seems to be working fine, exactly how it's supposed to work. So it looks like it's all good. Thanks for watching again. I hope to be doing a few more sort of videos out camping and out and about now, when everything sort of falls into place and it's all sorted. It's much appreciated if you can give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks everyone, bye.